It's no denying how important a quarterback is to a football team. When you look at the MVPs, most of the time it goes to the quarterback because it's been proven that if you do not have a quarterback, you have no shot in the league. You have no shot in any sense of the word, maybe high school, but you have no shot if you don't have a quarterback. So I know the importance. We know the metrics are clear. The importance of a quarterback to a football team. But there are a lot of instances where the quarterback might not be the best player on the field. That doesn't mean that the importance of a quarterback is any less important, but it just means that they necessarily aren't the best player. And there are also instances where it takes more than a quarterback to get over that hump. And I believe we're seeing that with this Philadelphia Eagles team and the importance of Saquon Barkley. Don't worry. Shortly after this segment, I'm going to talk about the Giants. But when you look at this Eagles team, there's a reason why there's a feeling of Super Bowl and bust. Super Bowl or bust. That's because of the play of Saquon Barkley. You see, when you look at Saquon Barkley and you look at the importance that he has on this Eagles team, look no further than what we saw on Sunday Night Football when the Eagles beat the Rams 37-20. Now, you can say, well, the Eagles are just a better team and the Eagles have a better defense, and the Rams, while they are good offensively with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, the difference in the game was Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley rushing for 255 yards with 2 touchdowns. We're going to look in history, and there are a few wide running backs that buck the system. And what I mean by that is the stigma. I'm not even going to say stigma because stigma means it may or may not be true. There is evidence that when you look at the wear and tear on a on a running back, a running back's best years are always early 24 to 26, 27. Because running backs take almost the most beatings as far as the skill position, their football life expectancy is shorter than a wide receiver, shorter than a quarterback. They have the shortest life expectancy when we talk about the skill positions on the offensive side of the ball. That's one of the biggest reasons, if you look at what happened this offseason, one of the biggest reasons why the Tennessee Titans were okay to a certain extent with letting go of Derrick Henry, and why, while obviously hindsight is 2020, and when we look at it now, it was stupid of them not to, but why the Dallas Cowboys felt like they were okay not getting Derrick Henry. Again, I know in hindsight it was dumb, but you look at the mileage that's on Derrick Henry, and you're like, yeah, I understand why you don't want to give him the money that you give him. But we're going to look at history, and we're going to there was a few wide receiver. What in God's name is happening? I'm sorry, guys. We're going to look at history, and there are a few running backs that buck the system. I think Christian McCaffrey is one of them. Obviously, Derrick Henry is one of them. Adrian Peterson is one of them. And now we're looking at Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, statistically, when this season is over, could have the best season a running back has ever had. Saquon Barkley's greatness has, let's say, shielded our eyes to some of the struggles, even though I will say that I think in this, 7-game win streak that the Eagles are on, Jalen Hurts has been much better. But you're seeing the luxury of having a dominant running back. It makes your offense that much better. It makes you're not as predictable. And it just allows you to scheme things, and it gives you the ultimate safety blanket. Again, I'm not taking away from the importance of a quarterback. But when you look at this Eagles team, the reason why a lot of people, I'll just speak for myself. The reason why I think they are a Super Bowl caliber team, while in some parts is because of Jalen Hurts, is because of Antonio or AJ Brown, is because of Devontae Smith. In large part, it's because of the play of Saquon Barkley. I think that we're going to talk about Derrick Henry in a short minute, but I think that there are instances where I wouldn't be upset, or I don't think that there would be mass hysteria if a non-quarterback got the MVP. I think right now I understand that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are number one. Like I said, I understand the importance of a quarterback. But this is one of those seasons where if you wanted to give it to a non-quarterback, this would be one of those seasons. If Tyreek Hill didn't get hurt last year, I think that would have been a season where you could have given the MVP to a non-quarterback. Obviously, Lamar Jackson did win his second one, but Tyreek Hill was on such a historic pace. I think if he would have hit those historic marks, over 2,000 yards as a wide receiver, I would have given him the MVP, but obviously injuries fell short. Not only is Saquon Barkley on pace to rush for over 2,000 yards, the Eagles, as we're currently speaking, is 9-2. He is the best player on the Eagles, and if he keeps up this pace, he will break Eric Dickerson's rushing record. I'm not saying that Saquon Barkley is the best player in football. I'm not saying that Saquon Barkley is even the best running back. Obviously, that's debatable between him and Derrick Henry this year. But what I am saying is I don't think that there's any doubt that if you look at the new acquisitions that happen yearly and their impact to a team, to this point, I don't think that there's anybody close when we talk about their importance to a team to then Saquon Barkley is to this Eagles team. The Rams aren't the best defense. And that's not me saying that's not an asterisk to 255 rushing yards. That's me saying that while their defense isn't the best, this is still the NFL. And you're not going to see too many people against any defense. You can have the worst. I don't know statistically right now who the worst rushing defense is, but I'm almost sure they haven't given up 255 rushing yards to one player. So what we're seeing out of Saquon Barkley is extremely rare. And I think that we're in that part of the year where teams are starting to separate themselves. Actually, I'm not going to say starting. Teams have separated themselves. The teams that get the most conversation are the teams that haven't yet separated themselves or keep double dutching between a good, Super Bowl caliber team or a team that's just okay. When we talk about this Eagles team, they have separated themselves in the NFC. And they're honestly on pace, in my opinion, to separate themselves from the league, them and the Lions. I think next week, and obviously we'll talk about it next episode a little bit more when I do my Week 13 predictions, but we possibly could see a Super Bowl preview with this Eagles and Ravens game. But for right now, Saquon Barkley is, in my opinion, by far the best player on this Eagles team. And I understand how important wide receivers are. I understand how important quarterbacks are. Obviously, quarterback being the most important position on a football team. But there's no denying how good Saquon Barkley is and how important Saquon Barkley is. And we talk about Heisman moments, and what moments do you have that propels you over somebody else when we talk about the Heisman? Saquon Barkley, if you want to talk about your quote-unquote MVP moment, he's had two of them at this point. The backwards hurdle and rushing for 255 yards. And if he continues this, he will have a third by season's end, and that is rushing for over 2,000 yards and possibly breaking Eric Dickerson's rushing record. I'm not saying that that's what it's going to take to leap over someone like a Josh Allen or someone like a Lamar Jackson. But this is why you go get a player like Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley now makes the Eagles, at least this offense, when they're rolling, damn near unstoppable. The same feeling to a certain extent that I feel when I watch the Detroit Lions play and they're firing on all cylinders. Hell, sometimes the same feeling I have when I watch the Ravens play and they're actually leaning on what makes them great is the feeling that I get with this Eagles team when they're rolling. Again, the Rams is a good team. They're not the greatest team, but they're a good team. They're a good offense. The Rams were playing for something. They're still playing for their playoff hopes. And the Eagles just dismantled them. A lot of it was because of Saquon Barkley. So shouts out to the Eagles for beating the Rams 37-20. And shouts out to Saquon Barkley for reminding the league why he is a generational player. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.